All right, guys, welcome in. This is a great event, and I'm very very privileged to be here. My name is GuyNextDoor717, as they already said, G&D for short, and I have with me the Phantomeyer. Phantomeyer, you want to
Hello?
say hello? Yeah, yeah,
Hello,
and
world.
yeah, that's right. All right, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started in five, four, three, two, one, go.
Let's go. Okay, so we have ourselves some Mega Man 7, and we're not going to really see much of Mega Man 7 for 2 minutes and 6 seconds because we have quite the lengthy intro, but it is a pretty funny one and I quite enjoy it. And I hope you all do as well. So you're going to see us kind of setting things up in this stage a little bit later, and it's going to look like he's playing the round kind of funky and not very well, but he's going to be setting things up so that he can actually have a certain amount of health as he goes along, just to make sure that he's able to make a cutscene go quicker a little bit later. So we're going to see that very shortly, but first we have our Met Helmet joke, and we're going to actually get the reveal at a very different time than most Mega Man runs. This time we get to find out that Wily is in fact the bad guy controlling things all along immediately.
What?
Right off the bat.
Shocker!
I can't believe it. So and then one of the other things that you're going to see him doing is he's going to be a little bit more strategic and bounce around with his Buster, the way that he winds up using it. The Buster charges very short, like it's got a very long time frame for it to charge. It's actually a quicker damage per second to be shooting lemons whenever possible. So as he's shooting his little pellets, he's able to do damage much quicker than if he was going for full-on Buster shots, just because of how quickly he can shoot off those little Buster shots. And you're also going to notice that iframes, or the invulnerability frames in this game, are really, really short. So when he's doing his deboosting or anything like that, he has 60 frames before he's able to get hit again. So he's going to take full advantage of that in certain scenarios, and it also makes other scenarios, when he does some skips and stuff that we get to, much more heart-benching. So we're going to be starting in 2, 1, go. And now we have Mega Man 7. And this is the lovely underrated title in the series. It's the underdog, but trust us, it's a really good game, and you get to see a lot of quick and cool tricks very quickly. So this is our first mini boss, and this is where he's going to be setting up his health in an ideal way. So he's just going to be tossing those lemons at him and taking deboost at the same time, take him out rather quickly, and then away we go. He's got his health in a really good range here, and then he's going to be sliding on over these couple of hits, and then we're also going to get another reveal. Our friend Base is here, and see, he just was able to slide right into the base and trigger that cutscene. Otherwise, it's sort of like when you're fighting in the first stage of Mega Man X, where you're not actually able to beat the fight, you just have to wait till your health gets low enough. And now we are on to Cloudman's stage. This is a very scary stage to start off with, and I know G&D is going to do very well with this, so we're going to see a lot of fun tricks as we go along.
Fingers crossed.
First off, we're going to see him doing these little slide jumps over these pits and trying to just get over these little fellas, shooting over the pits, as well as going under these other streams of enemies, and try to get them off the screen so we can reduce lag and also increase our safety. So he's taking it a little safer here. You're able to get in an early Buster charge shot and take things out, but it's a very scary, dangerous strat. Up and coming, we're going to be seeing him go for a cloud skip. Not a cloud skip, a quick cloud. So he's got the first part set up so that he can get an ideal cycle here, and then there's going to be an enemy that he takes out right here. Jump over, slide over, and jump, and oh, he just missed it. That's a very, very tight jump. So it's not anything that it's like, oh, he's playing poorly or anything. It's a really, really tough one. And kudos for anyone who's going to try that in a marathon. He's a braver man than I.
Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. Misinput.
Okay, and so we're seeing this screen for the first time. So we're going to be seeing a little bit slower cloud cycles, but that's quite all right. This is, like I said before, probably one of the most terrifying ways to start a Mega Man game. But he's going to get through it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! No big deal. It's pretty quick to get there, so we're going to jump right back into Cloudman stage.
Marathon nerves. Oof.
It wouldn't be a marathon if we didn't have some little hiccups along the way. So, this is Cloudman's stage. So we're going to be doing the slides again over these pits. Luckily, this part, like, it's really swaggy, but once you get consistent on it, it's not too bad. There's a little slide cancel there to make sure that he doesn't miss over that pit. Take this thing out just for safety, because it's good to be able to go through this stage without having your health go down too low, because it does get very dangerous towards the end. We have chat on your side. You have Iraq Vet saying that you got this, and you definitely do. You're gonna crush this, G&D. Don't worry. Just gotta shake off the Cloudman nerves.
That's right, yeah.
There we go. We're getting back on track here. Almost at that checkpoint again. He's going to wind up going for the first cloud as a quicker cloud, and then after that... Oh, just missed that buster shot. That's also a very easy buster shot to miss. So now we're going to take a little bit of a slower cycle here, but we're going to see Cloudman very shortly after this. So he's jumping to the first cloud. Now we're going to wait for this to loop around again. And then boom, away we go. This part's a little scary, and it's pretty nice to be able to take it slow because you don't see those platforms until you're within a certain proximity of them. So if you don't know where everything is, it can be a very terrifying room. Nice kills on these things just for that little bit of safety here. Up and coming here, we're going to see a couple of birds that he's going to take out, and then we're going to see these fans that are very reminiscent of Mega Man 2. They could be doing one of two things. They could either be sucking or blowing like that. Hopefully they're both sucking, but unfortunately in this instance they weren't. It can be mighty terrifying if they do that, because then it's very difficult to make that jump and recover from that. And chances are, just for safety, this time he's gonna... There we go, we got our nice cloud jump. And after this, he's going to likely wind up taking out those fans just so that we don't have to worry about what direction those fans are blowing, because they are terrifying jumps and run killers very early in. And runs in this game can be kind of scary to end because you have to go through a 3-minute intro stage every time it happens. So the first one was cooperating. This one, they were actually both cooperating this time, unfortunately, but that's okay. But it makes this much nicer because now he can go into Cloudman's room with full health and he will be ready to just demolish him. So there are going to be certain points in time where, like I was talking about before, he's going to be balancing back and forth between using the Charge Buster and the lemons. Whenever it is that he can just keep shooting all the lemons, he's going to be doing that. But there are certain times where Cloudman is invulnerable, so he's going to charge during those points in time. And you see that when he's doing any of his charge shots. Chat is already in on some lovely weather and cloud-based puns. We love puns around here, so definitely keep them up. We want no shortage of them. And there we go. Cloudman is down, and we are going on to Junkman.
First man.
In this...
oh, that's right, John. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I was testing you. I was testing you.
Okay, so I'm just going to read off a donation during these cutscenes. We have a donation of $5 from Moonpie Jenkins with no comment. Thank you very much for that donation. Greatly appreciate it. So now we have the Thunderbolt, and we are going to be using that back and forth in Junkman stage. There are going to be certain times where Buster's a little bit easier, and other times where it's going to be easier to use the Thunder weapon. And it's nice because you actually get some stage interactions using the Thunder weapon as well, which is a nice thing that this game introduced. Okay, so this elevator, there can be a funky skip that you can do as you damage boost through the door. It's very difficult to get, and it just allows you to be able to climb up over the ceiling and go into the next room without having to worry about everything going on, but that is very difficult to get, so we're definitely not going for it. So now what he's going to be doing is he's going to be hitting this from the left side so that he can climb up this elevator. And he's going to be switching to Rush Coil and bouncing off of these things on the elevator so that we don't have to take all this time to climb up the ladders. Going to use Rush to jump up here, and now he has Rush Jet. You're going to be seeing Rush Jet quite a bit throughout this run. He has to be a little careful here because those things can actually crush you, so it can be a little bit scary, but he handled that incredibly well. And he'll be strategic with Rush as we go along, because Rush is a very sensitive dog in this game. Although very useful in certain instances, he will go away at the slightest bit of damage. So he's got to go in just perfect spots so he doesn't get hit and is able to do this. And that just was beautiful right there. Slid where he needed to, and we're good to go. And now we are on to Junkman here. There's a way that you can stun lock him and get double hits, or you can just do a shock and slide back and forth, and he is a very low risk, easy boss to take down. It's very reminiscent of the X games in the respect that once you have their weakness, it's amazing what you can do in terms of damage. There he got one of those double hits. Very difficult to be able to do, so good to see that he was able to at least get one of them in there. And there we go, that is Junkman. And now we have one of the many, many cutscenes in this game. There is no shortage of them, but they're kind of fun because we wind up getting to learn about the very obvious use of each of the weapons that we wind up getting. But it's also fun at the same time. It gives you a break. It gives you time to digest everything that's going on, because the rest of the run is super quick as we're going along here. There we go. We got people in chat. Bring on the thunder. We gotta have those puns. Now we are at Freezeman stage. So this stage can be very scary because one of the true bosses of this game, honestly, the true last boss, is our ladders. Ladders are terrifying because they may look gigantic in this game, but they are very difficult to grab.
Nope, safe.
So you're going to see something like that where it's just, you might think that it's like, oh, you know, maybe he's playing poorly or something like that. Like, no, you really have a tiny window to be able to grab ladders. So there are certain times where it can actually be very scary when you're going for certain ladder grabs over spike pits and things like that. So sometimes we go for some safety strats just to make sure that we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So now you saw him use Rush Jet as that backup and then also take a D-boost there. That D-boost was a lot tighter than it looked because, like I said before, you only have 60 iframes, which makes it very scary when going for certain tricks, and you're going to see that in the next stage as well. So he's going to be doing a nice backup here with Rush. You can actually slide and jump into that ladder, but the window is very tight and it's incredibly dangerous because you can just completely miss that ladder and go into the spike pit and there's really no recovery for it. So here we have Freeze Man. He can be a bit of a pest, but generally if you're able to stun lock him with the junk shield and jump away when you need to, he's not too bad. He can freeze you like that, but you're still able to hit him with the junk barrier and just make him fumble about instead of doing much to you. And there we go, Junk Man is gone. Okay, so now we have another donation. I'm so glad that we have these cutscenes here because it gives us time to be able to go through them. And it's from our good friend, Iraq Vet 0304, who donated $10. He says, "Let's go, G&D. You got this, bro. Great way to end the Mega Man block with an epic run. RRRRR."
RRRRR. Thanks, Vet. I appreciate it, dude.
We have time. Just for context, G&D has a bot in his channel to read so he's able to focus on the runs, and his chat absolutely loves to spam R's in his chat, and that's exactly how it sounds as it continues to read off those R's to him, and chat has a lot of fun with it. So now we are on to Burst Man. He's going to be going for two very swaggy, difficult strats here. I'm very excited to see what he does because he's been practicing these quite a bit. This is a very scary one. He got the first one doing that bomb skip with Jet here, and then he got that other bomb skip. Not as scary as the Mega Man 6 bomb skip, but those are both absolutely terrifying, and he did those masterfully. Really impressive. See, after we got the Cloudman nerves out of the way, he's just crushing it now. So we're going to be coming up on a mini boss here. It's this little lobster thing, and we're going to be using Junk Shield to be able to take it down pretty quickly because we don't want to be seeing any other cycles or anything from it. And then he's going to be setting things up. The ceiling is going to go away, and he's going to jump in just the perfect spot so that he can skip having to slowly go up here and then jump, and then boom, look at that. Just done beautifully. Now he's going to be switching to Rush and skip these water cycles, and that was just absolutely stellar. That is way harder than it looks. And see, there we go. That's another example of ladders are impossible to grab in this game. They are the boss of the game.
Oh my. There you go.
So now we're going to see Rush as a backup. Like I said, it may look like it's a little bit weird that he's missing the ladders, and it's trust me, it's tougher than it looks. Those are difficult to grab. This is a very scary room here, where he's going to be bouncing back and forth between using Rush Jet and going through the water cycles. You can get killed very easily because Rush could get hit pretty easily. The water can just put you in an unideal spot. Rush can do things like that. Like it's a scary room.
Oh.
Oh no. That's very easy for something like that to happen. Like I said, it's an absolutely terrifying room. But we do the best that we can, and now we'll go on back through. Let's go for these swaggy strats again. We have Rush Jet out. Gonna do our lovely bomb skip. And ooh, we missed it. That's okay. We got more Rush puns in the chat. Don't rush yourself.
Oh man. Alright, we're not doing it again.
Okay, so now he's going to be doing it the other intended strat here, where he's just going to be standing on these bombs and he's going to wind up knocking them, just in the interest of safety right now. But we still get that spike skip. That one's not too bad once you get consistent at it. Yes, marathon strats engage. So we're going to be coming on up on our lobster friend again, and hopefully we're able to get that that cycle for him to be able to skip most of that water cycle. It's a difficult jump to make, but hopefully we can go 2 for 2 here. And down goes our lobster friend. And away we go. And it looks like he got it. There we go. And even if they miss that, we have a checkpoint right there. So we have that little bit of safety. So we're going to be using Rush Out again. Rush Out here again, just to avoid having to deal with our enemy, the ladder. It's nice to be able to have it in this game where I think that this is one of the few games where you're able to actually slide off of Jet, which makes for some interesting strategies now and then. Which if he goes for it, you're going to see seeing him slide under some platforms as we go along. Oh. Here we go. Take a D-boost way through that. Not a bad way to go. Get a little bit of health just for that buffer there. And now we are on to Burst Man. So you're going to be seeing him do this dodging sort of circular pattern against Burst Man here with Freeze Man's weapon, which if done correctly, you're going to see him doing this, where he just gets to do these circles around everything, jump, miss the damage that the bombs do, miss the bubble that could send him to the ceiling. That was done incredibly well. And even though you see burst shots from Freeze Man's weapon go off into different directions, the direct shot from Freeze actually does more damage. So you're going to want to see him using that. And as High Lord 90 said, we just bursted his bubble.
Nice.
Never stop with the puns. We love them. So now we have a bit of an intermission here where we get two cutscenes back to back because this game is chocked full of them. And in that time, while we start to get the sort of intermission between the 4 broken up Robot Master stages, we're going to quickly read a donation. We have a $10 donation from Barrel of Rats. Who is this person reading donations? Where's my lady?
Arr, 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 arr.
And for those who just came in, G&D has a bot in his channel to be able to take care of reading his chat, and Beryl is obsessed with having his lady, so that's what that comment was in reference to.
Dude, I love it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for that donation, everyone. So we had, during this run, we had Barrel of Rats, Iraqavet, and Moonpie Jenkins. Thank you so much for contributing money to an absolutely wonderful cause. I remember when I first started watching the marathon earlier yesterday, and it was at a $500 goal, and look where we all are now. It's because of all you wonderful people. Thank you so much.
Best music in the game right there. Best music, and you don't get to hear it very often.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it is a really good tune. This game is chock full of really, really good music. So we see our friend Gutsman pop away. We get our lovely cameos from other robot masters as well, and now we have this jester robot thing. We're going to be using the danger wrap to pop off his head, and then hopefully we're able to keep damaging it like this with those mines and get a only have to knock off his head once, but it's a really, really tight thing. That was a really good kill, being able to get that just barely after 2 cycles. Really impressive. And now we are getting introduced for our next 4 Robot Masters. It's sort of similar to some of the X games in that respect. Now, and Mega Man 8 as well. So now we're going to be going to Slash Man. And Slash Man is just awful. His stage is awful. He's awful. Everything about this is awful. And same as Turbo Man later. They are very scary stages with a lot going on. First thing you're going to wind up seeing here is he's going to take this D-boost and then slide over these waterfalls. No. Oops. So we're going to be going again here. It's actually, if he was going to take a game over anywhere, that was actually the best way to go about it. So he's going to be going through here. He's going to take this D-boost, and then he's just going to be doing some quick slides over these waterfalls here. It looks really, really scary, but it's actually the easiest way to be able to go through the level. There's something about the cycles that just line up perfectly where you're able to do slides rather than trying to time it with jump or having to use rush jet or anything like that.
Oh my god, dude. What is going on?
This is marathon luck. It's a marathon. You wouldn't have, we wouldn't have it any other way. That's just how they go. So there we go. Now we're doing the slides over the pits here. Very scary, very impressive at the same time. And now we're going to be seeing some more use of rush jet here. That's why we went out of our way to go get it in Junkman stage. We're going to be using it here just to skip so much stuff. But we have to be very careful and make sure that we take out these enemies as they go along, because if he takes the rush takes the slightest bit of damage, you get bonked, you fall into the spikes, and you are gone. There's no recovery for it, unfortunately. And then now we're going to be seeing this. We're going to be seeing this dinosaur boss here. There are two ways to take it down. We can either use the danger wrap like this and just plant those mines and boom, he goes. You can also use junk shield as a backup and stand underneath it. The junk shield's a little slower, but a little bit easier. He's living on the edge. He's a dangerous man, so he went for the scary strat there, but did that incredibly well. Now we have these very annoying dinosaurs that he's just gonna blast on through. So we're going to be seeing him mixing between the Buster Shot and the Freeze Cracker here. The reason for that is that it's going to skip cycles, because Slashman likes to go up and hang out at the top here and just take a heck of a lot of time. We don't want to see him doing that, so if we do it where we do the Buster and then the Freeze Shot, he will jump up less frequently. It makes our lives a lot better here. And then he's just got one more free shot, and then he's going to be good to go.
Oof.
That was a very scary fight. Definitely clutch there, but he got it. Slashman is gone, and that's why, like I was saying before, Slashman stage is just terrifying. It's awful. Everything about it just is a big sense of panic, but he took down Slashman really, really well there. And now we are on to going on to Springman here. This is a very, very funky level. There's going to be a lot going on. He's going to be bouncing all over the place and doing some fun things with both Junk Shield and Rush Jet. So I just had to take a little bit of a drink here. I'm powering on through. I have a little bit of a cold, so sorry if I sound crackly or anything, anyone. Okay, so here we go. He's going to be doing it with the Thunder Weapon here. And game over right at the start of the level, so it's not a big deal. We're able to recover very quickly. We got a lot of hype in the chat. People are backing you here. You got this, man.
Thank you all so much.
So there we go. We're jumping over that pit. These are sort of similar to the springs that you would wind up seeing in Mario, where you have the small and the bigger jumps, so they can make some of your trajectories a little bit scary, because you're kind of going on faith that you did press the button at the correct time or not, so you kind of have to take a leap of faith. It's not bad in some of the spots like you saw where he was able to take a D-boost over the pit, so you have that sense of backup there. And yeah, as Chad is saying, this game is literally impossible, so you're doing incredibly well here.
Thank you all so much.
That spring room there was a lot scarier than it looked. It's very hard to make over that jump and not get bounced off of the top there and go down. That rush strat is way scarier than it looks. So we're gonna go for it again here. Jump on the spring.
Oh my god, dude. Missed it.
It's okay, we're going to be going right back again. It is going to be something restaurant, and hopefully he's going to be taking this diagonal to get on into the top right corner. That is our objective here. There we go. And now we're just able to get right over this enemy, and we're going to be coming right in on Springman very shortly. Okay, so the ideal thing here is we have this slash weapon here, which will wind up getting him in this weird stun lock cycle here, where we do the first slash, he's going to bounce to the middle, crouch down, and then jump up, and then we're hopefully going to be able to hit him at the top of the jump. That way we're able to avoid an extra attack, and he's able to do damage much quicker. We have quite the chain going on. It's a very tight window for that trick, so the fact that he wound up getting it almost every time but that one time is really, really impressive. That was really well done. Springman, but it's fall. Chat, never stop with the puns. Thank you so much for that. We got some levity here. Okay, and now we are going to be going on Shademan's stage. And G&D and I have this little joke. We do races with one another as we play Mega Man 7, and we kind of joke around about which one's the better theme. I don't have his game audio on right now, and I can guarantee you he's going to pick the bad theme, the wrong theme. He's going to be going for the theme that's a reference to another Capcom title that everyone loves. You're going to be rather familiar with this. I personally like Shademan's original theme, but it is what it is.
The better music.
We got some spring puns in the chat. He couldn't spring into action. He won't bounce back from that. Take that, Spring Man. You get taken down, and you also have puns thrown at you. There's going to be a lot of weapon switching in this level, so those little knight heads, it's easier to use the danger wrap and just knock them out of the way. We can go a little bit quicker. Switch on over to Junk Shield, and then eventually we're going to be coming up to this room where he's going to be bouncing between bonking these enemies with Junk Shield and trying to get under the platform here. That window is super, super tight, but he went for it. Now we're going to be going to our pumpkin mini-boss here. He's going to be trying to go for this quick kill, which he just shoots the eyes, and one more shot here, and boom, he took it out before it could start doing another cycle, which is really good. It's a massive time loss. Inside of that pumpkin is another pumpkin, and the two pumpkins have separate health bars, so you really only want to be damaging one of them. So the ideal thing is to take it out using the eyes rather than the middle pumpkin, because then you don't have to go through multiple cycles there. So that was a really, really good kill from Gene. And they're going to be coming up as to another cameo from a friend that we saw earlier in their run. And he's getting set up so that he has his weapon set up for the boss here. And here's base again. This is one of the only times that we can actually scroll quickly through the cutscenes here, which is very nice. I wish that we were able to do it more often. The Phantom Eye is throwing shade on Springman. We get double puns here. So first we're going to get this hit here. He's going to go on up, and then we're going to be doing these charge shots where he bounces these right to the top of the screen here and take him out. So hopefully he doesn't suck on us like that, because he takes a little bit of health from you, and it does, it refills his health as well. Luckily we only got hit once. I swear he did that just to make me clench and worry a little bit, and so that he can end another fight with 1 pixel of health. He's being strategic about this. He wants to scare us all. And there is Shademan gone. And now we're on probably the worst level in the game.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
There's so many things that are very scary about this level. It's just a really goofy level in terms of Mega Man structure. It feels so out of place, but there's some really fun, cool stuff that he's going to be going for. that I'm hoping he's going to be able to show off, because there's some real swag in some of these strats here. So we get the Noise Crush. This weapon is a really funky weapon because it's actually one of the weapons that in this game that we can charge, but it charges in a very different way. It's not like, say, Heatman's weapon in Mega Man 2. You are able to bounce this off of the wall and have it come back to you, and you're able to shoot a shard shot, or you're able to shoot and then quickly slide into it and charge it that way. Either way, you get a better noise weapon, and for certain enemies it actually does a lot more damage, so it's super, super handy, and you get to do some really cool stuff with it. You're going to see that a little bit later in this level. So again, he's going to be bouncing back and forth between a number of weapons here. This is the first game that introduced the quick swaps, so it makes for some very interesting strategies and routing differences. So there are these tires on the ceiling that are able to just knock you out and bounce you all over the place. They're scary, so that's why he used Rush Jet there. It's just much, much safer, especially for a marathon, to do that, because those are very, very scary. You have a little window to be able to jump over those pits. Okay, so we're going to be taking some deep boost through this room. This is totally intentional and actually the quick way to go about it. And we do this because there's also some health up ahead, so it balances it out along with being quick. We don't want to be getting hit by those flames because it's an instant kill. We can't do anything about that, so he did that incredibly well. And now we're going to be seeing the use of our Noise Crush weapon. He's going to be bouncing it off this piston, shooting it really quickly, and there we go. We're able to take down the truck with grace here. It's really scary because those weapons, I mean, those enemies there can wind up bouncing all over the place.
Oh my god, yes, finally.
We got it. So this is what I was talking about in terms of a swaggy fun strat. So when you enter the door and you're able to shoot at just the perfect window, I think you only have a few frames to do it. You're able to shoot the Noise Crush weapon and it'll bounce back and forth and hit him while his health bar is loading. And that just winds up instantly killing him, so we do not have to bother with that fight. If you change the route, you're able to do that on one of the other Robot Masters in this 4 as well, but that routing is a lot slower and a lot harder to do, so we just do it on Turbo Man. That was an incredibly awesome swaggy strat that saves a ton of time. Awesome to see. I'm glad that he got that in a marathon.
I'm glad too. How many game overs so far?
We haven't had any game overs.
That's right. Run the tapes.
Don't worry, we got chat behind you. Everybody's in on this.
That's right.
We're all excited for you.
Thank you all so much.
And now we are moving on to the Wily stages. One of the really cool things about this stage here, as opposed to other Wily games, Wily levels in previous games, is you actually get ammo refills in between each of the stages. So you don't have to worry about how much ammo it is that you're using and have to be strategic throughout the whole thing. Like you wind up seeing, like especially with, say, yesterday with Slurpee Ninja's near world record Mega Man 9 run, you see him using the end tank and really managing ammo throughout the entire series of Wily stages. It is scary, so it's nice to be able to have that little bit of a buffer where we don't have the same type of ammo management, and we're able to just get away with a lot more, especially since they're weapons that we are able to use quite a bit more often. Like you're going to see the junk shield, for example. You're going to see a lot of rush usage, just to make our lives a lot easier and actually quicker as well. So here we are on getting onto Wily 1, and we get to see the lovely Wily Castle reveal. And here's some absolutely banging music. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. Capcom really knew what they were doing with the bass on the SNES this time. So we're going to be seeing him bouncing back and forth between this and likely some junk shield just for safety, because those pits are terrifying and those things can bonk you into it. And we're going to be switching to our good doggo rush and bounce right on up here. And there are different ways to go about this. Next screen, we'll see what he does. He's opting for the junk shield strat.
Nice.
Same thing here. Those enemies can suck and blow and just knock you into the pit. So that was a really, really good kill with junk shield there. And now this very annoying thing, we hope that we're able to bonk it with the shield there, but it's a very tight window for that. And now we're going to be skipping through this very scary section with Rush Jet here, take out that enemy, and then there's going to be one more that we really have to worry about here. And boom, he did that incredibly well. That was terrifying. And now we're going to see a really cool use of Rush Jet here to be able to skip the... Oh no! That's okay. He was right beside the checkpoint and he has plenty of rush ammo, so we're going to go right back to it. You're going to get to see him go through this terrifying room again. Yes, most definitely some top-notch music in this stage. Like I said, one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. Something about that Capcom bass. There we go. Now he's got the height that he wants from Rush. Bounce on this. Go to our true last boss, the ladder. Oh, and he is not going for the safety E-Tank. G&D is living dangerously, and he's going to kick some bass butt here. So you're going to see him using Noise Crush. This is one of the bosses where whether you charge the noise shot or not, it does the same amount of damage. So he's just going to be doing straight head-on shots here. Luckily, because the iframes are short, if he fires off multiple shots and they kind of bounce around and then he shoots another one, it's actually not a bad thing to do. See, exactly like that. He wound up hitting him from the front and then get a nice back shot as well because those iframes are so short. So that was a very, very nice kill. So this is the only time you see that Scorch weapon, and then boom, you never see it again. Yes, Chad is saying Mega Man 7 is seriously underrated. It is dangerously underrated.
That's
if
true.
you have not played this game or give it much of a chance, you should really reconsider. It is a phenomenal game, especially as a speed game. I highly suggest, if you haven't before, definitely try running it. It's really, really cool. And the speed strats just make it an even more fun game to go with. So now you're seeing another cameo from Gutsman here. He's going to be wanting to hit these blocks towards Gutsman because they do a lot more damage, and then he can't knock them back at you because they do a ton of health. And you also saw him deboost and go in behind Gutsman, which is a very good thing to do because the closer the ceiling gets, Gutsman will toss you into the ceiling and he will do a gargantuan amount of damage, and you do not want to be seeing that. And now we are on to Wily 2. It's Gutsman. Dana. I'm always excited when I see that alert in people's chats.
Whoops.
So now we're going to be switching back to the junk shield here.
Whoops.
Again, ladder, terrifying. The junk shield makes our lives a lot easier.
Oh man, I slid.
Oh no. That's okay, that's okay, you got this. So we're going to be going at that again. Just to conserve a little bit of that junk shield ammo, he opted to use the thunder weapon because we want to use junk later in the stage. Luckily he got a refill there. That gives us a little bit more of a buffer, thankfully. He was going to miss that ladder, so that was a very good save on his part. Like I said, they are terrifying to try and grab onto. This thing can be a bit of a troll here, so he actually did that really well. And now we are on to the next base fight. This is the last time that you're going to see him in this game. This is a very terrifying death here. I mean, not death.
Oh, hey now.
At the same time. He's gonna do this. I was reading chat at the same time. My bad. This is a very terrifying fight. He's going to be using Noise Crush here again. He's going to be doing these weird cycles as he goes up on just between these two platforms. It's much safer and quicker to be hanging out at the bottom here with base rather than trying to bounce all around this stage. You can go up quite far and use those fans to be able to platform where you need to, but we don't want to be doing that because it just puts us in a more vulnerable position.
Oh no. Oh no, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there we go. We got a raid from Dragon Metal Queen. Thank you so much for that. The more people we have contributing to this great cause and great marathon, the better. Thank you so much for that raid.
Should have got the E-Tank.
That's okay. Now we're going to be going to see the use of the junk shield again as we go through this. Going to be doing a little bit of deboosting. He's going to probably opt to go for the bit of safety health that you can get. There are two ladders up ahead where you can go on the left or the right ladder, and the one on the right has some safety health here.
Oh, ladders.
There we go. Slide over those, and then now we just have a little bit more of a buffer for this base fight. Because this base fight is very terrifying, especially when you have the rocket hand punch that he has. It does a ton of damage and is very scary. So we want to be avoiding that as much as possible. Having the health buffer is a really good thing to be able to have to make sure that we can get through this. There we go. He dodged that tight window there, but that was perfect. Sometimes on that bottom shot there, you're able to get an extra noise crush in. It's a small window, but we can get it in there. I'm just gonna let G&D concentrate here. One more hit here.
Oh my gosh, that was so close.
There we go.
Jesus.
That was so tight. He is terrifying us with these clutch kills here. I clenched up a little bit there. That was a stellar kill. Bass more like a subwoofer if you ask me. So this room is awful. There's springs everywhere and conveyor belts and just everything is out to just ruin your day. So he actually did that very well. This spot here, like, I'm glad that he was able to get the slide when he needed to, because it's actually it's very scary because you are actually able to hit this weird window where if you get stuck on the left-hand side of it, you're not actually able to slide through. So you feel yourself trying to use the slide button, but you can't do it. For some reason, you just cannot slide that close to that edge. We don't see that very often in the run, so I'm not sure if it's something that happens in all gaps like that or if it's just this single one, but regardless, you can't do it. So you see him go to the right a little bit more. This is a very scary room with a lot going on. Just flames all over the place, but he's going to be using our friend Rush Coil to get through that. That was an incredible climb. Gotta get some GGs for that one. That was just incredible. It's a very scary room. Did that incredibly well. And now we are on to this turtle. This turtle can be quite a time waster here. Because it's going to hide in its shell after we hit it with springs. Sometimes we're able to get 2, maybe 3 hits in, depending on what cycle he gives us. Then he retreats into his shell, bounces off the wall, either 1 to 5 times, and then he switches over to just releasing these turtles here.
Whoops.
So we're going to be seeing cycling him like that for a little bit while. This boss has quite the health bar, and it takes a while to get through. And there's not too much we can do to mitigate that. We just hope that we're able to get some of those early hits in like that, and hope that he doesn't bounce off the wall too often. Thankfully, once you get into the kind of swing of things, he's not too scary as a boss. It takes a long time. Yes, unfortunately, the turtle sacrifices its babies during this fight. Not sure why the robotic turtle is doing that, but it's rather cruel. And there we go, we have the turtle down. He did incredibly well with that fight. And now we are on to Wily 3. Let's go. We're inching on closer here. We're super close to the end. Zap. Okay, so this is where our friends the ladders come back in full force. He's going to be using the junk shield here to buffer himself, because those turrets can knock you down and do a whole lot to make you worry. He opted for the jet strat there because, like I said, those jumps are really tight, and you can accidentally go down the ladder, you can miss and fall down the pit. You just want to avoid all of that. So he opted to do that just in the interest of safety. Now we're switching to our Thunder Shot. Take a little bit of a deboost there, which is nice because if he falls back, then he's like, if he makes that jump a little short and winds up getting hit, he has the iframes to be able to make sure that he doesn't get taken down inside of that pit. But if he makes it, then he's able to just kind of slide back there. So now we're going to be trying to use Rush Coil over these pits, just hugging the ceiling like that, and then boom, he slid over that. That was perfect, and the springs cooperated. A lot can go wrong in that room, so that was really, really impressive. This is a really, really scary stage, and he's just crushing this right now. So we're going to be taking the top route here with Rush Jet, and we're going to see our good doggo again a few times. The reason for this is that we are going to do something that's a little quicker, and it's also got a couple of nice bonuses here where we're able to get some backup tanks to make sure that we have enough health and everything to go on. One of the tanks actually refills all of the health and ammo, and thankfully refills go very quick in this game, so they don't take up much time, so there's basically no reason not to get it. So there's that noise crush slide that I was talking about earlier, where you shoot and then you quickly slide into it. The window for that is really, really tight, so he did that incredibly well and took down that boss just with surgical precision. Just really impressive. Now he's doing his swaggy noise shots. That's just showing off now. That's really hard to do. But those charge shots do extra damage on this boss as opposed to other bosses in the game. And we actually got a gold split there for him, so wonderful on that. And now we are on to Wily's stage and the refights. This is a very scary stage because unlike some of the other Mega Mans, Wily and the refights are all combined into one clump, so you gotta be on your A game here. He's going to be going up and down this elevator, which is a little switch from the typical Robot Master rooms. So we see our friend Freeze Man again. And none of the strategies for any of these bosses really changed from before. The only one that we're going to see a difference for is Cloudman, and that's because we have his weakness this time. And then the other thing, because he got that absolutely wonderful swag kill on Turbo Man. Unfortunately, we can't do that this time, so we're going to be seeing a little bit more Turbo Man than before. And so since this is just the refights, we're going to do a quick donation here. We have $1 from Tempest Mask 1000. Dishonor, Dishanya on your whole family. Disanya on you, Disanya on your cow, Disanya on your creator, and most importantly, Disanya on Ned Squared. You're welcome, Guy, and good luck, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the slew of puns and that donation. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going for an absolutely stellar cause here. Now we're on Junkman again. Hopefully we're going to be able to get a couple of these double hits in, but that window is very tight. It's hard to do. So it's not too much of a time difference if we just do this slide back and forth. There we got a double hit. And then boom, Junkman is gone. Now we're at the halfway point, so now we're going to be seeing a very different way of fighting Cloudman from before. Thankfully this time we don't have to see a whole bunch of his nonsense. Yes, Junkman is trash. We don't have to see a bunch of his nonsense. Instead, we're just going to do the stun cycle here, just bounce him to the ground, and then we're going to be just using that to be able to make sure that we can go quickly and safely and just not have to deal with any of his shenanigans. One more hit, and there we go. Grab the health, and onwards and downwards. We have 4 more bosses to go. And now we're going to get to see a little bit more of our friend Turbo. So you're going to be seeing him doing charge shots here. Thankfully, those charge shots disable some of the attacks that he's doing, so he can't set you on fire or anything like that. So I wanted to be a little bit quiet there because you use sound cues to make sure that you can dodge over him, because the timing in which he charges to the other side varies, and you actually listen to the motor sounds to make sure that you do get the jumps ideally. We're gonna try and get for a full early hit on Springman here, but like I said before, it's very difficult to be able to stun lock him that entire time. Turbo Man puns will make new robots. I'm tired of these puns. Incredible. Thank you so much, people. And down goes Springman. 2 more to go. We're not going to be seeing that room after this next boss. We're going to be taking down Shademan, and then our final person, and then we're going to warp to Wyatt. So let's hope that we get a nice cycle here where he doesn't wind up grabbing us. Like I said before, he winds up draining some of your health and also becoming invulnerable and waste a whole bunch of time. That was a great fight. Take that, Batman. Batman failed to take you down. And now let's hope for our nice stun cycle with Burst Man again. Like I said before, even though you can see that the shot will break off and shoot in different directions, you don't want to be damaging with those because they do less damage than a direct hit. Luckily, G&D was able to recover quickly from that and take out that very annoying boss. And now we are on to one of the worst bosses in the entire Mega Man series, and that is our lovely friend Wily. This first form is not too bad. We're able to just hit him in the eyes with our thunder weapon once they are open, and he's going to bounce all over the place. And we're going to see him for a few cycles here. So he can hop across the screen like that. And then he can also do another attack where he just comes on down and shoots a couple of enemies out. We actually, in the interest of safety, it's not too bad to have him do this cycle, though it takes a little bit longer, just because it's a lot safer, rather than having to deal with these little mini versions of the Wily robot. Because you can't actually, you're technically able to kill those things. They do have a health bar, but the health bar, the amount of health that they have is absolutely absurd. So we don't bother with that. And now we have the Wily Capsule, one of the worst bosses in the series. He is terrifying. So it's going to spawn in random places. He's going to shoot 4 elements, either lightning, ice, or fire, in different directions, and then he's going to shoot a shot on the ground. So what we're going to hope happens is he's able to dodge them before he hits them. After he shoots them out, because they will do a ton of damage. We especially don't want to see the flame and the ice, because the ice you can get stunned in there, and then also get hit by the lightning that follows. And then the flame you have to wiggle out to be able to get out of that, and it just does a ton of damage. And we're going to be using the spring weapon. The spring weapon I didn't mention before. You're able to shoot it so it bounces off the ground and go up if he winds up using his springs correctly there. And then he's also able to shoot it low, so he's able to control those shots, which makes things very nice in terms of being able to hit down Wily more often. You can do double hits on him, but the window for that is very tight and leaves you open to get hit a lot more. So we try and do the best that we can to mitigate any worries with that. So we're about halfway. Unfortunately, Wily does not take a ton of damage from any of the weapons. So we're just going to spring into action here and try and get through this. But like I said, it's a very difficult fight. This actually winds up being a very large roadblock, particularly for new runners, because Wily is just absolutely dangerous. For people coming into this for the first time, honestly, come in here with full E tanks and that backup full weapon energy tank, because it's just an absolutely terrifying fight. A few more hits left. Thankfully, he's been getting lucky with, if he's not dodging, he's mostly been getting hit by the thunder. Like I said, it does the least amount of damage, thankfully, and we only have one more hit, and then he is going to be down, so time is going to be coming up very shortly. There we go, and that's time. Stellar run from G&D.
A little overestimate.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
For that reason, well, firstly, awesome run. We are going to quickly transition to our intermission screen here and get queued up for the next run. So thanks again for the run and the commentary, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been an honor.